Okay, now we're going to start getting into the journey that is going to take time to put these things into action. It doesn't happen overnight, and we're really used to instant gratification, right? So it's natural that you are going to resist this and find these things hard. But I can tell you, if you keep practicing them and keep learning them, they will become easier over time. So we need to start creating awareness and space around ourselves, and we need to accept and acknowledge where we are at. Okay, now, creating awareness and space, what does that look like? What does it feel like? What even is that? Well, Eckhart Tolle talks about, I love this quote. He says, wherever you go, there you are. And how true is that? And it means that we need to really become our own best friend right now with this. And we need to start understanding that we have put in our brains space, we have space in our mind and in our body that opens us up to a new way of living. And we need to distance ourselves in our minds. We need to distance ourselves from drinking and from drinking alcohol and living that way. Now, it's really tough. It's not an easy thing to do. So it doesn't just happen overnight. And I cannot stress that enough. This isn't an easy journey, and the beginning is difficult as you break away from a lifetime of habits around drinking. Yeah, it's huge, and you need to be aware that you need space. Now, you might want to share this with family and friends and your partner. I think that it does become imperative, if you're finding it difficult, that you need to share it. The first time I shared that I had a drinking problem with my family was around Christmas lunch, and it was an incredibly uncomfortable conversation. And I hadn't stopped drinking, I just had said that I've got a drinking problem. And I remember my great aunt, she looked me dead in the eye and she said, well, you're probably going to need to get help for that, a professional help, you know. And I am just so grateful, because that was love. That was her loving me saying that. And I think that's really beautiful. And we need to be aware of our situation, and we need to be understanding of it as well, that we need help. And it can be very hard to ask for help. There are going to be some people around you that won't like the fact that you've stopped drinking, or that you don't want to drink anymore, or that you want your life to look very different. They might be close family, friends, partner, you know, it could be anyone. And they're going to crack the shits with you. And it's going to, you know, that's something you're going to have to accept. And know that what you're doing is actually a major step into self-care and self-love. And you don't want that. You don't want to live that way anymore. And it's okay. You're allowed to not live that way. You know, and yes, some people just won't be able to handle that. And you're going to have to accept that you're going to lose people from this. And that can be difficult. That can be really tough. I know it has been for me at times, but you know, like when I was drinking, I lost friends because they didn't want to drink the way I was drinking. And when I stopped drinking, I lost friends too, because I just didn't. And it's not that I didn't want to be around them, it's that I didn't want to put myself in that energy space of drinking all the time, because it's not healthy. When you realize you don't want to be there, it's hard enough to not be there without just being there and being around it. So it is, yeah, that can be really tough. Creating space around you and in you is becoming aware of what your behavior is and what's coming out of your mouth, and listening to it, and listening without judgment, and just observing self. And that can be confronting. I know one time I'd been drinking and I yelled at the kids about something, and I went off, and when I was in that space, I was just listening to myself going, this, where is this coming from? You know, what am I going on about? And after I'd calmed down, I sat with myself for a bit, and I went back and I apologized to them for going off tits about it. And yeah, it can be really tough. Like accepting that that's the way you're behaving, and knowing that you don't really want to, well, you don't want to behave like that, but you are. It can be really confronting. So you have to be willing to accept your behavior, and that can be hard because we're so used to drinking, right? We push away our feelings and we push away our behavior because we just want to keep drinking and we want to forget all about that. We don't want to do the hard work, but I can tell you, you get on and you do the hard work, and it's just, I wish I could gift you that feeling that you have that comes with self-respect and self-love. I give that to you and I show you that it's really good. It's amazing. And when you're at your lowest point and you really want to reach for that drink, and you've had a rough day at work or with the kids or whatever happens, and you really want to reach for the drink, you need to start playing it out in your head and seeing what that looks like. So this is another way to create awareness and space, is play it out in your head and go all the way through from buying the alcohol. How does it feel when you're buying the alcohol? Coming home, how does it feel when you start drinking? Coming home, how does it feel when you go to bed smashed? How does that feel? And then walk right through into the middle of the night when you wake up with the dry mouth and the sore head and the horrors, and then you go back to sleep for a couple of hours of shitty sleep, and then in the morning wake up and you're still playing it out in your head, and you're waking up in the morning with the guilt and the shame and the angst, and you want to do better. Just start playing that stuff out in your head and go, no, you know what, I want that ending to look different. I want my morning to look different from what it does. And it might not happen immediately. It might be 1 or 2 times a week that you're managing that, or it might be however it looks. Just keep playing it out, and you need to start breathing through that moment of the want and the crave to drink, you know? Yeah. And hold on to what you want more, because you know you want it more than what you're doing now. You know that, and that's why you're here. You want to not drink more than you want to drink. So you have to hold on to that, and you have to find the grit and the determination within, and that can be rough. That's a journey in itself. The craving will pass, and you can not drink this moment and this hour. You cannot do it, and you can breathe through it, and the craving doesn't last for very long. And each time that you do this, right, and you may need to do it several times a day. I think I was doing it a hell of a lot. In the beginning, it gets easier, and I promise you, this is practicing this, and it's repetition, and it's building. It's your building blocks to get you to not drinking, and I believe in you. And the first time I stopped drinking, I was walking around, and I was like biting my knuckles because I just really wanted the drink, but I didn't want it, and I was trying to. And it was just doing my head in. It really was. That's how I got through it, some parts of it. Yeah, you have to go easy on yourself with this. And this is something that you would not be very good at right now, because you've got years of negative self-talk and self-worth. Like, it's just all, you have no self-worth, and you're trying to get somewhere, and you're just in this like absolute Groundhog Day, catch-22, can't do it type way. But creating awareness and acceptance is, you need to be kind and compassionate towards yourself. And you're very good at instant gratification, yeah. You feel shitty, you go get a drink. You feel happy, you go get a drink. You feel angry, you go get a drink. You just like using that. And in order to be kinder to yourself, it's about sitting with whatever feeling you have. You need to sit with it and feel it and allow it to flow through you in order to move to the next moment. And part of all of this is becoming present and being in the now, because that is all there ever is. And you have to take it day by day, and sometimes it's moment by moment. It's an absolute stretch of eternity, and you don't know how you're going to get through the next second without a drink. That's what it was like for me. And you know, you look into the future and it just seems way overwhelming, and how could I ever be like that? Well, I'm here to tell you, this is what it's like when you don't drink. You are clearer, you are nicer, you are kinder to yourself. You enjoy being with yourself. I like myself now, and I like hanging out with myself, and I look forward to continuing that relationship with myself, as opposed to drinking every day and being in the horrors all the time because I hated myself. I believe in you. You can do it. Acknowledging and accepting where you are right now is a really tough lesson. It's a really tough lesson, yeah? So all sorts of feelings and emotions are going to come bubbling up, and you're going to want to drink. Accept that you're going to want to drink. Acknowledge that you're going to want to drink, and accept that you want more than that for your life, and allow that to come in. You can. You've been denying your right to self-love, and you can now allow that to come in. And when it comes in, it's lovely and warm and peaceful. It's so peaceful inside. You're going to have to accept your timeline, and for me, this is a really tough one. How do you talk yourself around in rings when you drink because you don't want to drink? It's like, well, maybe I can be the type of person who, people will say, oh, I don't have that gene in me that, you just want to drink all the time. And I'm like, I wish I was like that. And, I try and talk myself into being that type of person, and I just never was able to be that person. I had to accept that, if I'm going to drink alcohol, I'm going to die. Do I want that? And what do I want from my life? And it takes time to figure these things out. It's not just an instant thing, that instant gratification that we want. You have to acknowledge that you're different now too, that you're not the same person that you were. And you would have seen the video of me as a drunk, and I don't feel like that person anymore. And I know that was me, and I know that I've had a drinking problem, but I do not relate to that person anymore. It's very odd how that feels, but I can guarantee you that, acceptance and acknowledgement and creating space around you as you continue on this journey will help you a lot towards freedom.